We're calling our story Cowboy 5-7. It sounds like a Western. And in a way, I guess it is. Except that our hero wears a crash helmet instead of a 10-gallon hat. Actually, Cowboy 5-7 is the call sign of an aircraft. You know, in a Western, if a town has a good marshal, there generally isn't very much trouble. Well, our story tells about a blood brother of one of those good Western marshals in today's troubled world. This is the little town of Chicopee Falls, Massachusetts. It's about 90 miles west of Boston. It's 6 a.m., and another working day begins for Bill Hammett. Today, he'll sit in a chair for 8 hours down at the bank. Looks like Hobie Thompson's up, too. Hobie will work his 8 hours today, sitting in a chair down at the textile mill. That's Jerry McKay's house in the corner. The alarm clock in this house is McKay's 13-year-old daughter, Sherry. Today's the day for Sherry. She'll be playing her first concert this evening at 8 o'clock. The alarm clock works pretty good, too. This is Major and Mrs. Gerald L. McKay. His place of business is at nearby Westover Air Force Base. Like neighbors Bill and Hobie, he, too, will spend 8 hours today on a chair, the left-hand seat of a B-52 jet bomber. Miss McKay's concerned about Sherry. Now, come on, Sherry. Now, concert or no concert, now, you've got to eat your breakfast. Now, come on. There's a reason for that long-handled underwear and the small tools of the trade, and later you'll see why. But right now, there's only one thing on your mind. A wonderful wife and 4 of the most important little people in the world. Sherry and Sandy, Thomasina, and the little monster, Billy. How's that, Sandy? Oh, your allowance? Oh, yeah. Mother, too. Oh, yeah, grocery money, yeah. Women sure can't keep a guy broke. Now, don't worry, Sherry. Now, I'll be back in time for the recital. I know. Everybody has stage fright. Now, you'll be just fine once you get started. There's Hobie Thompson. He's already off for the office. Time for McKay to get going, too. Yes, dear, you can have the car. I'll take the scooter. Sure, I'll be careful. Now, don't forget, Dad. Now, 8 o'clock. Now, promise you'll be there to hear me play? Naturally, you promise. You'll be on the ground at 7. Plenty of time. Now, quit worrying, Sherry. Now, you'll be just great. A few minutes from town, you cross an invisible dividing zone. This is a new kind of battlefront. The front line in a battle to win peace by preventing war. And to McKay, that sign is more than just words. He believes that peace is his profession. Before this air policeman will admit you to the flight line, he checks your pass, speaks a number of the day, and your answer better check or you're under arrest. This, you might say, is the plant. A plant that works 3 8-hour shifts every day. Right here is America's security. Squadron headquarters. This is where McKay punches the clock. It's 7:30 a.m., 3.5 hours before takeoff. Hey, you're a little bit early, aren't you, fellas? It's okay with me. Let's keep it that way. And they probably will. Out of 60 crews in the 99th Wing, McKay's crew is number 1 on the totem pole. A monthly rating based on accuracy of bombing and navigation and every other phase of professional performance. Meet Major Randy Neal, age 34, of Spokane, Washington. He's your radar bombardier, a real pro. Master Sergeant Bob Schmitz, also age 34, he's Oregon City. He's called the ECM operator, ECM, that's electronic countermeasures. Here's another old pro. If Major McCall resembles an accountant more than a navigator, it may be his accuracy with figures. Max from Florida, age 40. No boys here, all mature professionals. And they're all family men. McKay, as aircraft commander, he's probably the most professional of all, with as many years of specialized training behind him as a brain surgeon. Here's the youngest member of the crew, age 25, testing his oxygen mask. This is your co-pilot, Lieutenant Louis Van Bibber, Fresno, California. Well, where you been, fellas? There's Master Sergeant Steve Kimball, age 33, of West Lebanon, New Hampshire. He's the sixth member of your crew, tail gunner. He's earlier than anybody. McKay has good reason to be proud of these men. He believes they're doing a job of tremendous importance. He believes that it'll be a long time before the manned bomber becomes obsolete and you can place all your chips on a mechanical robot, a missile. 8:30 a.m. All right, it's time to go to work. Next stop, dope on the latest weather and signing of your flight clearance. The flight plan for today's simulated wartime mission is several pages thick. It's the Bible. It's so complex that McKay's crew started their mission planning 3 days ago. You asked the forecaster especially about conditions over the North Pole. That's the furthest point of your mission. The latest forecast is also being transmitted by closed-circuit TV to headquarters up on the hill. This is Major General Walter C. Sweeney. He's boss man of the 8th Air Force. And Brigadier General Perry T. Hoisington, commander of the 57th Air Division. Weather is their concern, too, continuously. McKay signs his clearance, and Sergeant Smits, he has the box lunches, 40 cents apiece. It's time to report to the aircraft. 8 a.m. You have 3 hours for exterior pre-flight inspection. As always, the first sight of your bird sort of quickens your pulse. She's big. 60 yards from nose to tail. Why, that's further than most punters kick a football. 200 tons of dense weight. And yet, airborne, she can keep pace with a rifle bullet. And she costs $8 million. Your crew chief, Tech Sergeant Dean, he and his men have been working all night to prepare the bird for flight. For the umpteenth time, McKay reviews emergency procedures and escape exits. Each man could recite his duties in his sleep, but of course you never can take it for granted. In a jet bomber, things can happen too fast. Exterior inspection. About 314 items on this checklist. Your ground crew has already subjected the bird to a complete going over, but Major McKay, he'll spend the next 2 hours double-checking personally. Why? Because this aircraft represents America's Sunday punch, and it's a terrible responsibility for McKay and his crew, and one that he never forgets for one single moment. He knows there's only one way to do his job perfectly. A country mile from the rest of his mates, Sergeant Kimball, the lonesome end, he mounts his cramped tail position. Wouldn't you know that he'd be the biggest man in the crew? 10 a.m., 1 hour before takeoff. Time to start the interior checklist. Well, it's taken you 4 hours since you kissed your family goodbye before you can finally sit down in your office. It's not the most comfortable chair in the world, and it's not a very easy one to fill either. The ECM operator's office is aft of the cockpit. Sergeant Smits is in the vital business of jamming enemy radar defenses with his own little black boxes. Below decks, in a compartment without any windows, Majors Neal and McCall will handle the radar bombing and navigation. There's no place for a man with claustrophobia. You put on that 10-gallon hat we were talking about. Your checklist leaves nothing to chance. A 2-bit warning light. If the bulb's burned out, that could cost you the whole airplane. 10:30 a.m., 1/2 hour before takeoff. Crew chief, fire guard, fire truck, stand by to start engines.
Ground start external air.
Roger, sir.
Got 30 pounds. Fuel selector switches. Set. Hydraulic pack switches 2 and 4 on. Pressures checked. Ground, the bomb doors clear to close.
Roger, sir.
Radar, close the doors.
Roger. Doors coming closed. Bomb door open and not latch lights, both out.
Roger, my door open, door not, latch lights are out. Hydraulic packs 2 and 4 off and reset. Standby pump switches on. Parking brakes set. Pressures checked. Standby to start 5.
Fire guard posted, clear on 5.
Ready on 5. Starting 5.
ready to go. This is your wing commander, Colonel O.F. Rapid Richard Lassiter. He expects you to taxi out right on the second and fly your mission with the same precision.
Westover Tower, this is Cowboy 57. Am I clear to take the active?
Roger, Cowboy 57. You're cleared to taxi in position. Hold.
Cowboy 57, your call sign, your identity. And for the next 8 hours, your whole reason for being, almost your soul. Cowboy 57, one jet bomber in one wing, in one air division, in one air force of the Strategic Air Command, bossed by General Thomas S. Power. One crew. And yet, McKay's crew in this simulated wartime mission is capable of releasing single-handed in one sortie a greater measure of destruction than all previous armies, navies, and air forces in the history of the world combined. Mankind is fortunate that such power is in the hands of a peaceful nation. You cover 18 more items on the before lineup checklist. One item, remove armrest safety pins. That office chair of yours has a little extra added attraction. It's an explosive charge under the seat that can blast you right out through the roof in a bailout emergency. But long ago, you made up your mind about pulling the trigger. You'll be the last one out, or you'll ride the bird in. Now, in a modern jet bomber like the B-52, you pretty much fly it by the book. You've already figured your takeoff weight to the pound. You compute your takeoff roll to the foot, corrected for the latest surface wind and runway temperature. A 4-degree rise in temperature can add 400 feet to your takeoff roll. Now, this is an imaginary diagram of your runway. It's 11,000 feet long with 11 markers 1,000 feet apart. You see, there's your runway with the markers waiting for you on the left-hand side. Now, if you were McKay, you would visualize your takeoff in terms of the critical factors you see shown here. Marker 11 means that you have 11,000 feet of runway ahead. At marker 7, that's called the point of decision. You have 7,000 feet left. And unless your airspeed has accelerated to 124 knots, that's about 144 miles per hour, then you cut the power and don't take off. But if everything's okay, then the next 1,000 feet to marker 6, this is the big question mark. Because if anything should go wrong there, you have to make a split-second decision. Because that marker 6, there's the point of last resort. You're committed. It's too late to stop. No matter what happens, you continue. Now here, before marker 2, is where the bird should leave the runway at precisely 151 knots, 179 miles per hour. There's your highway to the sky. 11,000 feet of money in the bank. Engine instruments check. Hydraulic system check. Parking brakes set. Crew stand by to roll in 60 seconds. The horsepower of the first 5 locomotives. Navigator counts down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll. Major McKay, the fiercest concentration of the mission now begins. You aim her smack down the center stripe. There's marker 10. At 40 knots, the airspeed needle starts moving. Okay, she's working properly. All other instruments normal. All right, she's moving awfully slowly. Awful slowly. Of course, she weighs 400,000 pounds. Marker 9. There, marker 8. Number 7 coming up. Number 7, your point of decision. 121 knots, that's 4 knots low. Better make it up before marker 6. Watch for a fire warning light, any danger sign. You can still cut the power and get stopped. Coming up on 136 knots. Marker 6, airspeed on the money. All right, you're committed. 5, 4, coming up. Number 2 is where you're supposed to get off the ground at 151 knots, so ease back, a little back on the stick. 148 knots. Number 3, 3,000 feet of runway left. Coming up on number 2, 151 knots. The book says she ought to fly. All right, now. 57, a number on a chart. But to Colonel Lassiter, Cowboy 57 and the other bombers of the 99th Wing flying today are living things. From personal experience, he'll fly each mission in his own mind, each minute, until the last bird is safely down. 1:12 p.m. You're over Canada, 9 miles straight up. And now you can relax a little. You've rendezvoused with your tanker, taken aboard a fresh load of fuel. Oh, the minutes start to creep by like hours. Fatigue setting in. Boy, it'd be mighty pleasant when you change course for home, the family. Oh, that's right, yeah, Sherry, she's playing at that concert tonight. There's a very serious problem here, too. Picking the right dress. Cowboy 57, 5 hours out. You've just completed your radar bomb run, and soon you can head for home. Brother, this shoulder harness is cutting into your muscles, and your helmet weighs a ton. Wow, boy, that's better. A rugged country down below. If you ever had to walk out of there, the winter underwear and the hunting knife, the mucklucks you're wearing could make the difference. But your grimmest thought on this and every mission is your awareness that you and the other man bombers are standing between America and a precipice until the missiles become as reliable as you and your crew. It never fails for the wing commander, that telephone, just when you've gotten home and, well, the local weather's changing for the worse. You may have to divert your bombers to alternate bases. The weather's falling apart, all right. And there's a question mark about McKay. Control hasn't been able to contact Cowboy 57 for some time.
Cowboy 57, this is Cowboy Command. Over. Cowboy 57, this is Cowboy Command. Over.
The moment every wing commander dreads, out of touch with one of his birds. Mrs. McKay is not the worrying kind. An Air Force wife can't afford to be. But still, there's no harm in asking if there's been a delay. Colonel Astor can understand the importance of the concert, but can't offer much encouragement. The weather's bad all over New England. He may have to divert McKay to an alternate base as far away as Miami or even Labrador. You know everything's going to be all right. Better just try to keep your mind on the recital. Now, we mustn't be late.
Cowboy 57, Cowboy 57, this is Cowboy Command. Over.
Cowboy Command, Cowboy Command. This is Cowboy 57, over.
57, are you reading me okay? I've been trying to get in touch with you for quite a while. Over.
Roger, Command. This is 57. We've had radio difficulty due to electrical disturbances, but I have been in contact with Goose Control. Over.
Roger, I'd like to apprise you of the current weather situation. We're approaching minimums. At the present time, we have 200 feet and a half a mile. I may have to divert you to your primary alternate of Goose Bay, Labrador. Over.
Command, this is 57. I'd sure like to get in right now if I can, sir.
I know your problem.
Cowboy 57 to Command. If I don't get a decision pretty soon, I'll have a fuel problem getting to Goose Bay. Over.
The McKay family arrives, a bit nervous on account of Sherry. And so are the Hobie Thompsons. Their son will play the guitar. The break Colonel Lassiter has been waiting for, a temporary improvement in the weather. He orders McKay to attempt an approach. A little girl playing the piano had no part in the decision, but a fella can be grateful to the fates. A distinguished but loquacious master of ceremonies is seizing this opportunity to run hard for public office before introducing young Hobie Thompson, Jr. That's my boy. Cowboy 5-7 has now been sighted by the eyes of this searching radar, an electronic lighthouse in the darkness. In this weather, McKay will need a ground-controlled approach.
Cowboy 5-7, West Upper Radar Phonic Controller, do you read?
This is Cowboy 5-7, over.
Roger, do not acknowledge further transmission. We're now 6 miles from touchdown. 230 heading. Should be maintaining 1,800. Suggestion make final flap and power settings now. You're now 5 1/4 miles from touchdown. 230 heading. You're on course now. Intercepting glide now. Begin descent. Begin descent normal for your type aircraft at 4 1/2 miles from touchdown. 230 heading now left 226. 4 degrees to your left 226 heading. You're running out very nicely on the glide path. 226 heading. Your gear should be down. You're on course and on the glide path. 228 heading. Precision minimum 3/4 of a mile from touchdown. You're on course and on the glide path.
Cowboy 5-7 is home. And through Major McKay, there floods a beautiful feeling. Mission accomplished. A worthy challenge faced and once more a worthy obligation met. The feeling is like no other. You've already alerted the crew chief by radio. You've never broken a promise to Sherry yet. Now maybe there's still time. Oh no! Oh no, not now! Sherry is next. Miss McKay's praying that long-winded MC will make another speech first. Thanks, Sergeant. Okay, 2 miles to go. Of course, you've just covered 5,000 miles in an 8-engine jet bomber, but a 1-cylinder putt-putt has just made a bum out of you. No mechanical bent, I guess.
And next on our program, it will be a pleasure to introduce on the piano for an etude, Miss Sherry McKay.
Well, you've got it made. There's the auditorium. Oh, now wait a minute. What's the matter with this darn thing? Another flame out. All right, time to abandon ship for good. Looks like Hobie had a hard day at the mill. You know that you and your crew flew the equivalent of a wartime mission today. 100% as briefed. No foul-ups, no excitement, really. After all, you spent most of the day in a chair in the same old office. And yet, suddenly, you're drained, empty, mentally and physically, inside. And you're grateful to return to Earth. And you're grateful to be with your family. But you're tired. Real tired. Like Hobie Thompson, maybe you have a right to be. You've done a day's work.